Hello, welcome to the Physio Insights podcast. I'm Timothée van der Linden, Head of Sales at Runeasy. At Runeasy, we're building running gait software designed to help rehab professionals better understand their patients and athletes so they can make smarter, data-informed decisions in care. Along the way, we sit down with thought leaders from around the world to explore expert perspectives and evidence-based insights. Our goal? To give you the tools, insights, and reasoning you need to elevate your clinical practice and empower your athletes. This is the Physio Insights podcast.
What does it take to grow a team, expand your brand, and make a profitable business within the services you offer? Because next to the clinical reasoning, a successful PT nowadays needs to make sure the business side of it all makes sense to thrive. And of course, offering great quality in your services goes hand in hand with building a successful story for your PT business. And who better to have on a podcast today and someone who built a successful PT business with Bespoke Physical Therapy. We have co-founder Dan Giordano here on a podcast. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, nice to have me. I'm happy to be here and looking forward to chatting today.
Maybe it's cool to start with an introduction from your side, like if you could introduce yourself to all the listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Daniel Giordano. I'm a doctor of physical therapy and certified strength conditioning specialist. I'm the co-founder and chief medical officer at Bespoke Physical Therapy. We have locations across the U.S. in New York, New Jersey, California, and Washington State. And I currently serve on the scientific advisory boards for companies such as Therabody, Rally, and Men's Health Magazine. A little more about me with my background with running. So throughout my career, I had the opportunity to work on medical teams for major national and international events such as USA Track and Field Olympic Trials, USATF National Championships, US Championships, the IF World Championships, and then in other sports such as the Nike EYBL Peach Jam Championship, Slam Summer Classic, Made Hoop Circuits, and in surfing at the Quicksilver Pro Surfing Championships as well.
Great. It's been quite a ride. You founded Bespoke Treatments 10 years ago. So now you have PT clinics in a lot of major cities in the US, offering premium services, improving people's health. How has this journey been if you look back to the past 10 years?
It's been fun. So we originally started as Bespoke Treatments and we've rebranded to Bespoke Physical Therapy with our focus really being on physical therapy. So looking back over the last 10 years, the journey's been pretty humbling and rewarding at the same time. You learn a lot as an entrepreneur. It's a roller coaster, right? You have highs and lows, but it's fun and you have to enjoy it. So what started as a single clinic operation in New York City on Madison Avenue was originally built around high standards of care, and it's grown into something larger. But the core mission has completely stayed the same. We work on improving people's health through thoughtful and personalized physical therapy and looking at the long-term effect on people's health. So we always say, live better longer. So our goal is to get through that touch point, which is pain with the individual, but really look on focusing and improving their overall long-term health and wellness. So being an entrepreneur in physical therapy, it's interesting. Everything comes with its growth, challenges and mistakes and learning and seeing the impact on patients and team members across, so it makes it worthwhile. We have a great team in place across the country, New York, New Jersey, California, and Washington, and seeing patients improve their overall health and wellness and then seeing our team members grow makes everything worth it for sure.
And looking back to 2015, did you have today in mind, this expansion in mind, or did it grow as you went?
So I always wanted to live in California. That was one of the big things. So in my head, I was one day I'm going to live in San Diego. I love San Diego. And then I went to visit Seattle a few times and I fell in love with Seattle. So I would say I didn't have a master plan for a national footprint, but my mindset definitely evolved when I started to learn more about business and growth and doing the fundamentals as well, right? But for us, it started to come over time when we started to connect with leaders that we could bring onto our team and work together. That's what really drove the growth of the company. And then also obviously delivering the best possible care and our trust with our patients and surrounding ourselves with the most talented people we know in physical therapists. So I guess what I'm saying is bi-coastal expansion wasn't the goal at first, but it became a big vision of us long-term and to understand how we grow and expand and to give people access to the high quality physical therapy that we know we deliver. So for us, started small. Now we're expanding, and our goal is, our mission stays the same, but we want to just continue to deliver the highest quality physical therapy care and also redefine physical therapy so that people can receive that one-on-one care and receive that care that creates long-term healthcare change and long-term change in wellness. So as long as we continue to deliver this care at the highest quality level, that expansion will continue to happen.
You say, you work with a great team, and running a PT business is working with a team, working with people. As you also work with emotion, a lot of people management, and that means leadership takes an essential role. So what would be your philosophy on leadership?
I think this is still, it's in progress and I'm learning every day. But my philosophy would be that it's rooted in principles, not tactics. So I think tactics always change with context.
Yes.
But principles like trust, accountability, integrity, that helps you scale. I've worked with leadership coaches like Megan Dolce from Get Ripe, actually. And she taught me a lot. I think that she really taught me that when leaders are clear on principles and teams can make better decisions, right? So once we really understood this a couple of years ago when we worked with her, it allowed us to push our leaders in the right direction so that they can make better decisions without needing like constant oversight, right? So huge credit to Megan Dolce at Get Ripe for this. And she really drilled that to me, and we learned that it's principles, not tactics, and creating those SOPs and those programs and the operating procedures. But it's really based off principles. So as long as we continue to have these principles, we'll be able to, create leadership and grow as leaders together, for sure.
That's great. I think also, as you grow, now you have several PT clinics, different states. I think in some way, you got to let the people also manage their own clinics. So like autonomy becomes important. How do you see like from having the first PT clinic to today, like you could manage everything in the beginning yourself, probably. You had the vision. Now it's also maybe about letting go, right? Like you have to let people, like you have to trust people, your team. How do you see that evolved also with your own mindset?
So micromanagement is tough, right? You want to do everything on your own. And a lot of the times you like, I can do this real fast and I can get it done, but that's not going to allow for growth and scalable aspects. So, you got to back off micromanagement. That's a word of advice sometimes, that you need to put people in place so you don't have to micromanage. But I think people do their best when they feel trusted and empowered to think. And micromanagement might feel safe, like short term, but it limits growth. It also limits creativity with your leaders and your coworkers. So you need to give people the right tools and guide them in the best way possible without over managing. Even when you, as a entrepreneur, as a founder, you're like, I can do this right away. I can do this right now. I can get it done, or I can do better. No, you have to give people their space, and you have to let them learn on their own too, because, right, even if something doesn't go the way that you planned, failure is feedback. It's learning experience. And so even if it doesn't go the right way, then you regroup as a team and you let someone do it, and just continue to give them the tools and guide them properly, I think is key to that.
I think also, mistakes and failing, you can learn so much from the mistakes you make. Yet a lot of people still are so afraid to make those mistakes and to fail. So like failing seems like the end of a story for a lot of people, but it's actually maybe the best possible stepping stone for learning and success. So
for sure,
I think you probably had a lot of maybe mistakes or failing that led to maybe a better version of yourself and your business, right?
Yeah, I think failure is just an opportunity to learn. You're going to fail in your personal life, your professional life. And as long as you learn from those failures, you'll continue to grow. If you dwell on those failures, you won't grow, right? So I think everyone fails. It's okay. That's fine. Just learn from it and don't hold yourself down on it, because you're going to continue to fail. Like, I fail at things all the time, but I learn from them and build upon that and make the better decision in the future based off my experiences. So don't ever get put down or, mad about failing. It's just a learning experience, and view it as a learning experience. Don't view it as, I failed, I'm done. No, you learned from the mistake, and don't make that again, but learn from it.
Now in this like personal growth topic as well, like how would you compare your leadership style of 10 years ago compared to today?
Okay, it's changed. Let's put it that way. I think that 10 years ago, my leadership style was more reactive. I think as an individual, to be quite frank, I was more reactive. And now I know not to be reactive. Even if something comes in that's something you're mad about or frustrated, like take a deep breath, walk around the block, or don't answer right away, right? Think about it before you answer. So be more intentional and thought out, right? Don't be reactive. It's just like PT. Physical therapy, I think, should be proactive and not reactive, but we'll talk about that down the line in the podcast. But I think that over the last 10 years, I think I learned to step back a little bit, trust the team, trust the individuals that we did hire for a reason, right? And focus on creating clarity rather than like micromanaging or controlling the immediate outcome. So I think that the word of advice would just be to everyone out there, be less reactive. You have to react when certain things happen, but be less reactive, be less aggressive, take a step back. And in a weird way, being more back or a step off, you're actually more hands-on, right? Because you're giving people more trust and empowering more people without just like reacting and jumping at things. But then also, most of the time, you go with your gut, but the reaction may not be the correct reaction, or it could come off wrong. So take a step back, take a deep breath. Something that I really like to do is if I get like a bad Slack message, or not a bad Slack message, but one that's, a little frustrating, or an email, I'll write out my answer first, and then I'll think about it so that I can go into that conversation after saying the correct things. And maybe sometimes I'll even write bullet points like, don't talk about X or talk about Y. And that helps me lead properly without, reacting in a negative manner. Because I don't think negative reinforcement is good in any way. I think the only thing that should be reinforced is positive reinforcement with your team. So get away from being reactive, get away from the negative reinforcement, because it actually slows outcomes and slows the growth for sure.
And it combines as well with like your personal mistakes or failings with also the ones of other people of your team, right? So if you empower them, you will let them learn and let them grow themselves as well. I think your always helps. I think if you have a smart, like good skilled team, what's your focusing like if you hire people or like having new team members? What will be the biggest thing you look at?
Hiring new people.
Yes.
You want to surround yourself with the best possible people, right? So I think that hire people that are smarter than you. If you don't do that, you're in a pretty small room, right? Hire people that you think are better than you at certain things. Like you don't want to not hire people because you have an ego about something. And then I think also, ego is expensive, and I think ego can actually harm teams sometimes. So I honestly think that sometimes ego can actually slow decisions and limit innovation, especially in healthcare. Bad team members could really hurt the overall culture and group. If you do hire someone or you do work with someone who has an ego that's hurting the group, like own your mistake and understand that you made a mistake possibly by hiring that individual. But ego is not great, right? We've made that mistake. I've hired people that I thought because they had like a big social media following or they were so confident, but it wasn't confidence. It was an issue with their ego. And when I put them in a team where we have a bigger team, sometimes that really like deterred people and created clashes between, and that's not good. Having a bad team member on any team can bring down the team. So, I always say that ego is expensive. Ego can really limit your growth. So hire people that are smarter than you, hire people that are better than you at certain things, and that will help you grow. And sometimes be careful about ego. That's definitely a word of advice. I don't think that's a great thing to have on a team most of the time.
That's actually very underrated advice. That's great. And running a PT clinic business with more than 10 locations could seem very high demanding to a lot of people. Yet when I speak with you, you always give like a relaxed impression as if everything were taken care of. So how do you handle working under pressure and under doubt?
Under pressure. Okay. So I think pressure never goes away, but it's how you respond to it that, allows you to grow. I actually like pressure, to be quite frank. I think that I react well and I thrive under pressure, right? I think a lot of people have issues with pressure because they can't handle the pressure, for sure. But for me personally, I love pressure. I can't say this more than that. I think that I thrive under pressure. And if there's more pressure thrown at me, personally, I think that I'll continue to grow and to handle it. But if you are feeling so much pressure, calm down. Like calm leadership, I think, is about not having all the answers and staying steady even when things are pretty uncertain. And to be quite frank, I think winners win. And I think winners focus on winning and losers focus on the winners. So with pressure, right, take a deep breath, get some clarity, because pressure can get tough at times and stress can be overwhelming. But focus also on things in your life that can decrease stress, right? So when you're not thriving or under that pressure situation. Like for me, it's sauna. I love doing a sauna. I do sauna at night. I think that it allows me to bring myself back down or exercise or running, right? And that allows you to lower the pressure and create calmness or stillness. But I do think that it's hard for me to say because I love pressure. I think I thrive under it. And if I'm backed in a corner or something, I kind of enjoy it. But I also think that was due to my life in sports. I loved being in that situation where it was the end of the game or something. Like, I like it. I like to win and I really like the pressure. But if you're feeling stressed from the pressure, I would say take a deep breath, find something in your life that can calm the pressure, lower those cortisol levels, because that will create that calm aspect of leadership, because you never want to be, like we're saying prior, you never want to be too reactive in certain situations because it's just going to create stress for everyone around you. Yeah, of course, like I have my days where I'm stressed and pressure gets the best of me, but I also know that to catch it now, where I'm like, ooh, it's getting the best of me. Dan, take a step back, scale yourself back, go take a walk in Bryant Park, go take a walk in Central Park, call my wife, chat with her, because sometimes, and not about business, just call and check in, because sometimes like getting that check in and just talking can just lower that pressure and ease me, and then I can get back to work. So find your stillness, find how you calm yourself, but pressure never goes away. So it's just really how you respond to it that really creates that growth and the leadership. Yeah.
You guys work with a lot of top athletes as well. Do you see the let's say the relationship with how they handle pressure and how like an entrepreneur should handle pressure?
I think it goes hand in hand. I think I'm going to shout him out. Kavari Russell. He was an NFL player for years. I worked with him, and I'm pretty sure this is him that said this. He always kept saying winners win. And, I think that's a big thing, and losers focus on the winners. So I think it goes hand in hand, honestly. Like, athletes get to the point where they are in the world of sports, and they win. They continue to win, and they love pressure, and they're always going to win. They're going to do no matter what they do, they're going to try to win. And I think it goes hand in hand with entrepreneurship. If you're not someone who continually wants to win, maybe entrepreneurship's not for you. And if you can't handle the pressure, it could also become pretty hard. So, I think this is directly correlated to growing up in sports for me and performing at high levels and playing high level sports. I think it's just, you gotta own the pressure, and you gotta enjoy it. If you don't enjoy the pressure, you're going to come into issues. So enjoy the pressure, thrive in it, make the most out of it, and continue to move forward and win. And thank you always to Kavari for instilling this, that winners win. And it's something that goes hand in hand with athletes, right? They thrive in this. They love it. They love the pressure. They train under that pressure, whether it's rehab or performance. And that's why they're, the best in the world at their sport. And hopefully we're the best in the world at what we're doing in physical therapy and entrepreneurship.
A lot of people would like to expand their PT business, but you only have so much time in a day. So I think that puts a lot of people down, like, can I expand this? Do I have the capabilities? Do I have the time to do it? I would just say, like, being effective in scaling, like in growing a business, would work.
Okay. Philip Haas, my co-founder, always says this, that I say this to him. Everyone's busy, man. Like, everyone has their personal life. They have their professional life. They have their business. But there's a huge difference between being busy and being productive. So I think being busy often means like reacting and not actually doing anything to move the needle forward, right? And then being productive, on the other hand, is about intention and impact. So if you focus on actions that truly prove outcomes, you're being productive. So whether that's being better at patient care or creating stronger programs or procedures within your team, that's being productive. Busy, on the other hand, can feel exhausting and overwhelming at times, but productive is what actually builds something to become sustainable and scalable, right? So I think a big thing is for people that are in this world and being, trying to grow a PT business, just remember that being busy and being productive is different. I'm always busy. I am busy all day long. I use every minute of the day, but make sure you're not doing it on the little small things that you shouldn't be doing. You're going to answer emails all day long. You're going to answer Slack messages all day long, but make sure you're setting that time to be productive. So you're doing things that actually move the needle forward and scale. So make sure and this goes back to Megan Dolce at Get Ripe. She really kept saying to me, like, celebrate the small wins. Don't worry about the tiny things, and focus on things that have intention and impact for your business. And once I got that mindset down, I started to understand how we scale. And for instance, we went from 3 locations 18 months ago to now 11 locations nationwide. And we have a few more that are going to be opening in 2026. So by mid 2026, we'll be at 15 locations. And that's all within the last 24 months. So yeah, we built a sustainable business for years, and we have a footprint. We have basically a setup that we know works. We know that this works. We know the business is scalable, and then we start to focus correctly, and the business starts to scale, as opposed to just like, we were doing a great job creating high quality care, but we were moving this way, slightly up. But now we're starting to scale properly because now we know something works and it's scalable. But it takes a long time to get there, and just remember not to focus too much on small, tiny things. Celebrate the small wins and be more productive. That will create more impact.
You talked about Megan Dolcher. You talked about like people that could inspire you. Everybody wants to be inspired. Do you have advice for other PTs or people on the podcast listening? How can you talk with people they can inspire, like mentors, etc.?
So with mentorship, choose the right mentors, right? Don't think mentors are going to give you the answer. That's another bad thing, that people think that they're going to reach out to a mentor or someone that they're going to be a mentor for them and they're going to give you the answers. No, mentorship should be borrowing perspective, not copying the exact playbook, right? So, because every situation is and business is different. Even if you're in the same realm of business, everything is different, right? It's how you learn from others to avoid your blind spots. And I think the key is like shortening the learning curve without outsourcing your judgment. So approach mentors in a way with curiosity. I think don't approach them with direct requests. Sometimes yes, but don't be like, oh, what's the answer? Just don't ask questions to that. I think that you have to respect them for what they've done, and that's why you're looking for mentorship to them. So, there's someone that I look at as a mentor. There's a few people. I think the two people I talk to the most about mentorship and ask questions are Arthur Rubenfeld, that was the head of global expansion of Starbucks, and then Douglas Durst, who's the CEO of the Durst organization, of real estate company. And I asked them a lot of questions, quite frank. I asked them a lot, and I respect their time. And I think that when I do go to ask them questions, I show up prepared and thoughtful about asking those questions so that it builds trust over time. And I don't want to waste their time. So I show up prepared. I ask the questions I want. And then over time, that naturally leads to like deeper conversations, right? But I know now, as opposed to what I did 10 years ago, when you show up to meetings with mentors, be grateful for their time and really show up prepared so you're not wasting anyone's time, because time is the most valuable commodity in the world. And you want to make sure that you're making the most use of the time. So you're not just being busy and you're being productive, right? But show up prepared, because they'll respect that more. And then over time, that'll lead to deeper, more in-depth conversations, which will then help you grow. And you'll learn from them. They've done it. They've built it. So learn from them and learn in every aspect and ask questions, but be prepared. Don't just like go up there and just like think you're going to jam out with them. You jamming out is for you and your homies and your entrepreneur groups. But with mentors, you can jam out through the depth of the conversation. But just make sure that you're showing up prepared, because you don't want to waste anyone's time, to be quite frank.
I think, a lot of PTs have built like great, let's say, tool set, like clinical reasoning, have a lot of skills if you look at them. Maybe as a PT yourself, a lot of people think, how do I connect with people? What's your take on like relationship building?
So networking is relationship building, right? You have to continually do so. I think in the beginning of my career, especially when we first started Bespoke, I was out. Listen, I don't drink. I was out every night, and I was at an advantage because I could stay out late, wake up early, because I didn't have alcohol coming into my system that was affecting my recovery, right? And the reason I stopped drinking when I was 29, 30 years old, about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, was because of work. I knew that if I was drinking, whether it's 2 beers, 3 beers, it would affect my next day. So one of the things I would say is you got to network every night. And you have to be prepared to network every night. It is exhausting. So you need to be physically in shape, mentally in shape. You need to work on your mental fitness, because you have to go out every night and you have to show up. You can't show up in a bad mood. You have to show up with a smile on your face. Even if you're inside, you're like, oh, I don't want to be here. No, you have to show up. And if you're not going to show up, don't go. So I think a big thing is with networking, it is relationship building over time, right? And don't expect immediate short-term outcomes. You have to think long-term. There's no, when there's no pressure to extract value, I think conversations become more genuine, long-lasting, which will create more long-term success with that relationship. If you're not genuine, don't build a relationship with that person, right? I think that you want to have to build a relationship with the person. And so many times I see, even now as I've grown, people reach out to me for things. And to be quite frank, I'm going to be honest, sometimes I'm like, we're not friends. Like, you don't think of me as a friend. I don't know you. don't ask me for my time, but you have to build a relationship with me. You know, I constantly have people saying, okay, can we have a 30-minute conversation and give me your insight on the product that I built? No, unfortunately, I cannot. If you wanted me to, maybe become like a friend of mine or let's chat first. Like, you have to date someone, right? You can't just jump into it with them. You have to date someone first. And I think it's the same thing with relationships. You know, what makes someone worth connecting to is consistency, and you have to be consistent and genuine. And I think that people notice how you show up over time. You know, people always notice your title and your status, but people will notice how you show up over time, no matter what. So I think with relationships, they are networking, they are building. Think long-term, don't think short-term. Don't expect immediate outcomes, and be genuine, because people will know when you're not genuine. And if you're not genuine, people are going to see right through you. So be a good person, be genuine, and create relationships with people that you connect with, right? You don't have to try to force a connection. And if you try to force a connection, I think you will show how how ingenuine it is. And don't force a connection. And I think, I'll use you and I as the example. When we first connected about Run Easy and I met you guys, I thought, these are good people. These are people I would like to be connected with, and I'm happy to help them because they're genuine and they are good people. But if I thought you were not, then I wouldn't have moved forward with our relationship, because, about relationships is being genuine and wanting to help people and see people grow. You want to do everything you can I always say, like, you want to help your homies grow, right? And you're going to do everything you can to do that. So be genuine. Don't think short term, think long term. And the more genuine you are, the deeper that conversation and that relationship will continue to grow.
Totally agree. I think let's date before we get married, right? So
exactly.
That's great. I think, we see that it's important, of course, to create a great brand as a physical therapy clinic. So we see all over the world in many cases that PTs are building also a brand, not only for the clinic, but for themselves. Do you see that as a perfect win-win for both the career of people of your team as the evolution of Bespoke physical therapy?
Yeah, so I think that you want to create opportunities for your team, because if your team grows as individuals, your brand's going to grow too. So I think that as you scale, let's say as a physical therapist, be intentional about creating environments where introductions and growth will happen naturally. I think that for me personally, as a physical therapist, it was very hard to, create opportunities for myself in the beginning, because I was doing it for myself. And then when I learned how to create opportunities to help things grow or help personal brands grow, I realized that I could do this for other people. So, but that's also like hiring. You hire people that you want to help and you want to create opportunities for them. And if you're not sharing those opportunities, you're slowing your growth. So I think it's like hoarding. You're hoarding a relationship, right? So when you're creating opportunities for the people inside the organization, let's say, focus on helping them build reputations, not just their resume. And I think that when team members are trusted and supported, their performance will improve, but then people will also look at your brand as an improvement. So, it's the kind of like a compounding effect of being a connector. I think that you see introductions matter sometimes more than strategies and certain things. And I think that if you connect the right people, it'll create opportunity, because once they've connected, then they can jam out and see how they, expand or go. And I think that when you're creating that as for your team members, it's growing you as well. So you may think sometimes, I should be doing this. I should be in that magazine. That's a prime example, right? We get editors reach out to me all day long. I sit on the advisory board for Men's Health Magazine and work with a lot of editors and PR companies, and they reach out to me directly. But if it's not my expertise, or if I don't have time to do this and I want other members to do this, I'm going to have them do it, right? So most of these come through me, then they ask me, and I just be honest and I say, like, I don't have time to do this, but one of my team members will do so. And then I'll connect the right person to then create that or to answer that question on that topic. And it allows them to grow their personal brand with Bespoke Physical Therapy, and at the same time give more exposure to everyone. So I think that, like I said, there's a compounding effect of being a connector, and then always lead by example. I want to help people. No one helped me. So now that I have the opportunity to help my team members, it'll continue to help Bespoke Physical Therapy grow.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for listening to the first part of this episode. During this short break, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Run Easy. I've seen firsthand how much physios Run Easy has helped worldwide. It's a wearable that gives objective data on things like impact, symmetry, and stability insights that add to clinical reasoning and decision-making. If you're a physical therapist or running coach, then head to our website runeasy.ai. Learn more and book a demo. I'd love to see you there.
You played a big role in expanding the business of Bespoke Physical Therapy. Also, you're a highly solicited person. People ask you for advice in all sorts of segments. When you retire, how would you like people to remember you? Like, what would you want to have achieved?
I think it's how you react under pressure. I want people to know that when I retire one day, legacy is built through behavior. And I think that you want to make sure that it's not built directly through valuation. So I want to be remembered as someone who helped other people. And if we can change how we've redefined physical therapy and created what we believe the experience that physical therapy should be to help people's overall health and wellness and to live better longer. But then also from a team perspective, I want to make sure that I've helped other people. If we can grow the business where we can have impact on other people's lives, that's the part of being an entrepreneur. Yeah, you want to help you and your family, but if you can one day retire or leave this when you've helped other people and their family and change the outcome of their life and their future, you've done a good job, because that's the effect of entrepreneurship. Yes, it's you and your family, right? That's always going to be the number one priority. But if you can help other people, you've changed other people's lives and you've made an impact on people that, 10 years ago you didn't know. And now you've changed their life of their kids and their future. So I think my legacy I want to leave with one day is, yes, I've redefined physical therapy and we've helped people live longer, better, healthier lives, right? And change overall health and wellness outcomes over long term, 100%. And I also want to make sure that my team members and the people that we've worked with together to grow this are affected by all of my hard work and their hard work. And we've made opportunity to change their future and their children's future. And we just know that we've left with that legacy, right? That we've made impact that goes beyond our immediate selves.
We talked about personal growth, about growing the team as well, expanding a business. And of course, one of those cornerstones that can expand a business is also technology and innovation. What's your take, let's say, on innovation and staying at the forefront of the PT world?
I love technology. You know that. I love innovation. I love technology. I think for Bespoke Physical Therapy, we integrate technology thoughtfully and intentionally. We use tools that are backed by research and have clear clinical value. So I think I have a unique opportunity because I'm a part of the scientific advisory boards for Therabody Rally and Men's Health Magazine, and it allows me to stay informed and share more meaningful insights with our team. So I'm very up to date on the current technology, especially with Therabody. Therabody's crushing it, man. Tim Roberts is the head chief scientific officer at Therabody, and he's brought on a team of advisors and team members that gets different perspective from performance, from clinical, from beauty aspects of things, and we really dive pretty deep into the research and as a team discuss certain topics. And this allows Therabody then to create amazing products moving forward, right? And that's directly correlated to our team. So if we could use those insights and those studies and that validation to understand how we integrate into treatment, that's it. We've improved that quality of care tenfold. And then for companies like yourself and Run Easy, you're using validated equipment for us. And it allows us to use objective data to evaluate performance, right? Which changes the evaluation of physical therapy. And healthcare as a whole, I think all orthopedic sports medicine teams should be doing these sorts of evaluations, because unfortunately, healthcare for the longest time, and still is subjective. And there is a need for subjective. I'm not saying there isn't a need for subjective, but objective data gives us it eliminates guesswork. So objective data allows us to evaluate performance, identify weaknesses and failures, which allows us to create programs to attack those weaknesses and failures. So it removes the guesswork and allows us to create bespoke programs or more tailored programs, right, for the care to be more precise and effective. So with companies like yourself, you're allowing the PT, and which should allow all PTs, trainers, orthopedic, sports medicine docs to take the guesswork out of evaluation. And yes, our tools that we learn in school they're great. And we learn how to do testing and such that has a valid and reliability to it. But with objective data collection, we get precise measurements. And if we understand these measurements, we can see failures and weaknesses. And then we create programs, we measure progress over time. Because a lot of the times as well with this technology is you create a program and then you retest. Retesting is key, obviously, right? Retest. You can see, okay, the original test showed we should work on A, B, and C. But now 6 weeks later, A and B have improved, but C's not. So let's focus on C. So it allows us to retest properly and then look at those failures and weaknesses again from a different perspective, and then create a better program so that we can attack that. So we create long-term success. You guys are crushing it. So kudos to you guys. You've created an amazing product. And I know we're on the podcast together, but honestly, your product is unbelievable. You have gait analysis, you have jumping analysis. It's validated, it's precise. It gives us nice measurable outcomes and then gives our clinicians tools as well from the outcomes. So you're measuring your impact and then you're giving your expertise from your team to say, hey, these are some recommendations. And then our team will take those recommendations, use their clinical perspective and put things together. And you're creating a program that is above and beyond what we had 10 years ago in physiotherapy, right? So, kudos to you guys. I think that there's a huge return on investment for technology. And as long as you're doing it properly, you're going to really move the needle forward with using this objective data testing.
Means a lot. Thanks a lot. You mentioned return on investment, and we get a lot of questions. ETs that want to know how can you get that ROI. So that's usually like a typical question. And of course, we can show in a really easy way that if you have like a new service, it's like a running analysis screening or jump test, you can get like return on investment, extra revenue for that. But it's really interesting that you say like, of course, you want to streamline it into your services and then get like extra quality for your services. So you really include this in the whole branding and the whole physical therapy services.
Yeah, so we include it. I think a lot of the times clinicians get stuck on like the short-term aspect of integrating a new technology because there's costs associated with it. So I think that in order to have the proper ROI on an investment with technology, and I've had these conversations with many physios nationwide that aren't part of our team. They've asked me these questions. And I think that you can't look at it purely through a financial lens. True ROI, I believe, and we believe at Bespoke Physical Therapy, that it shows up in better clinical outcomes and higher quality of care. So it creates a more meaningful patient experience. And if your patient experience is great, you'll be great. When the technology helps patients move better, feel better, recover faster, I think they truly understand what's happening with their bodies, and it allows them to build trust in you and engage properly with physical therapy, right? So it'll lead to better adherence, better results, and it'll build long-term results and wellness and then long-term relationships with our team. So, the ROI or the financial return, let's say, tends to follow like a natural progression when you consistently deliver care that patients feel and see the objective measurements, right? The true ROI. They're going to see their results and progress over time, as opposed to just saying like, one of the things that bugs me the most in PT is I hear, patients come in and they're like, oh, I did an evaluation and they did force testing, not for manual muscle testing. We do force testing. And they're like, oh, the PT said I felt stronger. And I'm like, so you evaluated that person 4 months ago and they came in and you did a manual muscle test and you can remember that 4 months ago they feel stronger today? No, no, you don't. Come on, man. Unless it was like an issue with they couldn't hold their arm up. Yeah, okay, obviously they improved. But when you have those measurable outcomes and the person can see those outcomes, right? The true outcomes will come with that person and they'll understand, oh, I've improved. So the true ROI is long-term results and the higher quality of care. And that's, I think, what PTs have to shift their mindset. Like, make the investment, like you're investing in your education to become a PT. Invest in the science and technology, because that will create true long-term ROI, because you're improving higher quality of care and patient outcomes over time.
Offering objective data and technology and innovation to elevate your offering, it's really important, but people have to know that you do this. So I think Bespoke Physical Therapy is great on the marketing side, putting things maybe on socials or on the website. Would you say that Reneezy are also like an easy tool to market?
Oh, for sure. Because you can show the objective data. One of the biggest things is when we marketed it and showed it to people in local run teams, people understood it, right? So using like social media or however you're getting out there in the marketing aspect, show that it's an objective data measurement, and then there are outcomes that measure with it. I think that one of the coolest things we did was we did that article with Men's Health Magazine and showed Run Easy, right? And a lot of people asked us, like, what is this? How is it so easy to use? How is it validated? Where are these outcomes? And then I think one of the coolest things that Run Easy is you can do it in the clinic, or you can put it on them and allow them to go outside and run, because we know like your gait can change or how your body response impact can change depending on the surface you're on, whether it's treadmill, track, trail, cement. New York City is all cement, right? So now we understand how we can support them in that matter. So yeah, it's super easy to market as long as you show what it does and show the objective measurements through video marketing, obviously, or videos or photos. But it's easy to market. And I think that if you can integrate this into your clinic or your studio, there is an ROI, like we're saying. But as long as you show people properly what it does, there'll be an ROI for sure.
Yeah, great. I think the philosophy of Run Easy is also to have, of course, validated data, be really scientific, but also show the results in a compact way, in a smoother way.
And an easy to understand way, for sure.
Yes. Does that make a difference?
Yeah, for sure. It's sometimes we've noticed over time that when we do force analysis, force testing, motion analysis, and when you show all these data collection points, it's like mumbo jumbo, right? People are like, oh, okay, well, what should I know? And a lot of these data collection points are not really like great, right? Like, yeah, from a deeper perspective, okay, you can see that this does X, Y, and Z, but that's not pertinent to the individual. When you guys break it down so much into layman's terms that when we show this to patients, they understand what that means. We have companies that provide their scores and such, but don't have any data to go along with that in layman's terms. And then it means nothing to anyone. Like, yeah, I guess your score improved, but like, how did that improve? People want to see how that improved. And you guys have a really easy platform so that it's in layman's terms and people understand the data that's put in front of them. And then also from a PT perspective, you guys have an amazing course on what you offer to the PTs that sign up for Run Easy. And that really allows them to dig into your technology and understand how it works. And you've done that so well, and you dive so well into the depth of the product that it makes it easier for education purposes for the team, as opposed to someone on our team. We do this, but, it's easier you give your perspective from that person to the new individual on your team and the mentorship program, and then give access to your education portal. And your education portal is so in depth that it really allows a smooth transition and people to really understand it. So, once again, kudos to you guys. You've created a really amazing platform for patients in layman's terms, and then also from the PT perspective in educational terms.
Amazing. I think, we can talk for an hour about like business and ROI, but maybe it's cool. Let's end the episode. I would say maybe it's nice to show some general advice to PT business owners. What would you say to them?
Okay, so my advice to new PT owners, for sure, is at physical therapy owners, is to focus on fundamentals before chasing growth, right? I think you have to prioritize quality of care, build systems that support your clinicians and your team, and be patient. Be patient with the progress. Stay open to learning. Failure is only failure if you view it that way. Failure should be a learning perspective. And don't let ego drive decisions. So surround your people with people that, challenge everyone's thinking. And remember that long-term success in PT comes from consistency, trust, and elevating the real value to the patients every day. So improve quality of care and deliver the highest quality of care to drive you and your company.
Amazing. I think, Dan, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for the Physio Insights. It was great to have you on a podcast. So see you next time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man. Take care.
That's it for today on the Physio Insights podcast, presented by Run Easy. Thank you for listening. Would you like to share an interesting case, insight, or do you have a thought about the podcast? Comment below and don't forget to follow us for more episodes.